Greetings and salutations, everybody. Today is going to be one video to rule them all for my, it's to encompass a lot of positions I hold, which I feel are reasonable and logical, and I think everyone should be on path with all of these. Excuse me, not exactly because I believe in that way, but because I feel they're logical and reasonable. Except for one, a little bit of wiggle room on it. But we'll discuss that. I wrote most of the things I want to say in my Notepad++ here, so I will be referring to the screen. I know some of you people are like really good at having a good train of thought and talking directly to the camera and always be on thought and blah blah blah, and I'm just not good at that yet. So please forgive me for looking at the other monitor here. Let us begin. All right. So like I said, I'm going to go over quite a few different topics, quite a few different reasonings, and I'll explain why and a short reason for each one of them. And if you feel I'm wrong in anything, please go ahead and say it down there, because if I'm ever shown to be wrong about something, what I do is I correct it. I'm an atheist because I never believed in any God, and I remain so because there's never any reason to. So, like, that's just an example that. Sorry, I have a cat over here. Hopefully, she won't hit my keyboard. If I'm shown to be wrong in something, I will fix it. That's what I do. All right. So, point number one, which is the only point I might not be thoroughly convinced on, but I'm pretty sure is fairly good, well-founded. This is the only point that I feel there's room for debate. But who cares about the wall? So what if we have illegals coming in? They are good for the economy, they work, and they pay taxes. My argument for that is, do you want to care about their fate? Well, then give them an easier path to become a citizen so they can become more productive here. I don't see it as something that we need to waste a lot of resources on when we have so many other things to worry about. And I'm picking from the right and the left here in order to make this list, and I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, also next point, we are about to lose our place in the top 50 nations in terms of life expectancy. Everyone above us has a public option for health care. And this is a big thing, especially after the COVID stuff. You would think that, hey, maybe we should have universal health care. Maybe we should have a public option for everybody. I mean, there can still be private insurance, but we really do need something because people are dying. People are not getting preventive care they need. It's a big issue. And that's something that we need to take that's usually posited by the left. So we'll take that from the left. And who cares about your pronouns, right? This is something we take from the right. We have bigger things to worry about, like men's rights, for instance. Men make up roughly 50% of the population and are suffering actually very greatly. Trans make up less than 1%, and not only are they not suffering nearly as much, but they have more than enough help in safe spaces. I can give example of what men go through, compare it to trans, and I guarantee you trans can come nowhere close to the amount of BS that we have to put up with. So yeah, I'm big against the pronoun thing. I think we should just shut it down. I made a video about trying to find a perfect slogan for it, and I think 4 words, already know your pronouns, is just the best I can do. I was actually thinking of going on campus, I don't know if you guys think it would be good or not, and have a sign that says, I can guess your pronouns, and just record my interactions with the students. And I'll put like, I can guess your pronouns. If I'm wrong, you win $1 or something like that. Like, I don't know, what do you guys think? Is that like a good idea? I'm considering it, seriously considering it. Like on a busy day, around lunchtime or so. I think that'd be funny. Okay. or more about the trans thing. If you want to care about less than 1% of the population's feelings more than the reality of suffering that 50% of our population, us men, goes through, that affects way more than just their feelings, then you're pretty much what's wrong with the world. My own words, and this is my own words. Yes, we all can choose what we want to care about, and I respect that. And some people can care about something, some people care about other things. That's fine. I understand that. But when the topic is people, okay, and you only concentrate on tiny struggles of the small minority, while ignoring huge struggles of others, of a much larger population, a portion of the population, then something is wrong with your worldview. So that's my position on that. Which brings me to the next point. Modern feminism is toxic and bad for society. They actively ignore men's issues and pretend they have some of their own that are somewhere near as bad when they're not. When they do not have anything close to what men struggle with, and this is what I do with feminists when they come at me with their little bubble news, where they got it from. Basically, I say, okay, if you think women are suffering so poorly, so much, why not? Let's do the 3 example thing, okay? I give 3 examples of what men go through, and then you give 3 examples of what women go through, okay? And then we'll compare. I can guarantee you that my examples will show loss of friends, even family, devastation of finances, kicked out of universities, loss of scholarships, of education, of opportunities, at least depression and suicide. So it literally destroys lives, and I can give examples for that, ranging from having to pay child support for children you never wanted, to false sexual assault accusations, which happens very regularly, I may add. At least 50% is my argument on that. So once I throw that at them, they just really have they have nothing. Some of them said, once the best things I've heard were, I'm catcalling in the street. Yeah, like, I would definitely like to get rid of all the other stuff I go through just to be catcalled in the street. I would not mind that at all. If that means that I will not do 60% more jail time than you, I'll be loved not just for what I can produce, but unconditionally like you are. I mean, if I didn't have to pay to be a parent against my will, I mean, there's a lot of things I can throw out there to say what we go through. We should concentrate on issues that need to be fixed because they are causing the most harm. Pronouns are not causing much harm. If you have a problem with someone calling you by your proper pronouns, which have to do whether you're male or female, then you need to see a psychologist. You need some help. Okay? It's not something that the rest of us need to concentrate on. It's a personal problem. Healthcare for all is one, and the other entails 50% of the population, which is men's rights. Both of these 2 issues are causing unnecessary loss of quality of life, including needless suffering, torture, poverty, and death. We should also fix the tax situation. Why are big companies allowed to skimp on taxes, but homeowners have to pay annual taxes on their property? Do you really own your land if you have to pay taxes on it? Should we not fix the laws that are in place to help big companies get away with paying less money and also stop homeowners from paying yearly taxes on their land? Pretty sure that would balance itself out there pretty good. All right. How much longer are we going to be putting up with this woke feminism garbage being produced in Hollywood that is not well written? Like She-Hulk and Rings of Power, did we not learn from movies like Ghostbusters in 2016? There's another issue there. Should we not be concerned about that? Not as much, but it's still an issue. It's a bigger issue than pronouns. I could go on, but I'm urging everyone, stop being a leftist, stop being a right-winger. Neither of them have all the answers. All the answers lie in the middle, and that's where I am. You should be you should be a moderate. I'm a moderate. I take from both sides. I take, and even things that are not on both sides, you know, like the gun, like the gun issue, you know, people going to schools and shooting up kids and killing themselves. Why is that happening? You know, well, the left wants to ban guns, right? They think, oh, the guns are just getting up by themselves and killing people. No, it's people are doing that. And what's the right solution? The right doesn't really have a solution. They have no solution. So in this instance, neither side have a solution. And if neither side has a solution, then us moderates have to find the reasonable answer about why that is and what is the solution to that. And the solution to that is healthcare for all, a public option for all. Health checks, you know, periodically, or when you need to get a gun, some sort of analysis of your brain, right? Because if we don't have healthcare for all, if we don't have Medicare for all, people are not getting preventive care. And what are school shootings? School shootings are the result of not receiving preventive care. That's what they are. They have everything to do with mental health. Guns are not shooting themselves, okay? And we can't just ignore the problem like the right is doing, right? What's Fox News saying? All they're doing is just whining about the left wanting to limit guns. Like that's not going to solve the problem. So that's an example. So I go on to say you should only take from a source if that source is producing a position that is well founded on logic and reason. So whenever I take something from the right or left, I look at, is that reasonable? Is that logical? You know, I don't just jump into a camp and like, I'm in a camp, you know, I like that, let's do that. Like you guys know the YouTuber Matt Walsh, right? Like he really tears apart the pronoun thing very well. And he uses a good amount of logic and reason. Had he used, if he would apply that same logic and reason to his beliefs in a God, he would no longer believe in one. He would not be religious. So that's just one example of the right using logic and reason and not applying it effectively against all of their positions, which I strongly do. And if I'm shown wrong in any of these here, then I'll listen. You know, and the left, you know, I'm sure they a lot of them are atheists, right? Like me, but and they have reasons for being an atheist, and those are probably fairly sound for the most part, but they don't apply them in all areas of their beliefs because the pronoun thing, pretty dumb. All right. So basically, I say that people are not thinking properly, and that's the problem with this country, this world. You have the Fox News and CNN and MSNBC. They get you to think a certain way, and they pin you against each other. Because if we stop pinning ourselves against each other, and we thought logically and reasonably, like we should be doing, like a lot of my examples here, you would be thinking logically if you adopted them, then we would all be together. And what happens when we're together? We will look at what's really the problem, and that would be the corporations in this country, right? And the lack of public healthcare for everyone, right? And why are the corporations running everything? Why are they deciding things? You know, shouldn't we be more for the people? Shouldn't we bring back the middle class as much as we can? So it's just a way to get your mind off things, right? So what happens when something bad happens? They introduce the mainstream media introduces a new a carrot with this on a stick. Say, hey, look at this instead. Look at this. Oh, look, another black person shot by the cops. Oh, we're not going to tell you that twice as many white people get shot by the cops every year than black people. We're just going to concentrate on the black people getting shot by the police. Yay, Black Lives Matter, even though it's a defunct crappy movement now. All lives matter, right? So I can get into race. That's not a problem. I could talk about that on a video if you guys want me to. I have no problem with that. We can talk about why 13% of the population are creating 50% of the crime rate, of the violent crime, and why that is, and what they can do about it to fix it. We can talk about that sometime. All right. The next point was we should all be atheists, and we should all be moderates. We should not subscribe to either side. Do not belong to a camp. I don't really consider moderates being a camp. I consider myself being some sort of independent, just looking, and if a moderate is not that anymore, then I'll pick a new word that's not moderate. But right now I think moderate's a good choice. I'll go with that for now. So congrats, you leftists. You got it right. Yep, we should all have universal health care. Congrats on that. But many of your other views are garbage. I don't care about your pronouns. So that right there tells me that you're selective in the application of logic in your worldview. And congrats to you, right-wingers. Yes, let's call out the pronoun stuff. But please, the logic you use to thwart this lame pronoun issue is the same logic we use to destroy your religions. So that right there tells me that you're selective in the application of logic in your worldview. I'm a moderate. I like to think I use logic and reason correctly. Sometimes I can be wrong, and I'm willing to correct that if I am. This means that my worldview is typically going to be healthier than either of yours. If I believe in something that shows to be incorrect, guess what? I will stop believing in it. One last piece of advice for you ladies. This is just something I added to the end here because we're talking a little bit about men's rights and about men and something like that. And I thought I'd bring this up because men's health is important and I like to sometimes touch upon it. So this is in reference to that as my last point. Ladies, if you want to get or do something nice for a man but don't know what to do you want to see a man break down and cry in happy tears? Then you come up to his face, you hold his hands, you look him in the eyes, and you tell him he's a good person, and he's deserving of love, and that you love him. And you say it like you mean it, and with sincerity. And that will have an effect. And it's sad that that does have an effect. But it does. And now you have to ask yourself, why is that having an effect? Why is that so powerful? That's powerful because men go through life every day trying to produce. Right? Trying to produce, trying to work, trying to maintain for usually more than themselves. And they're taken for granted. And they're not shown the conditional love that Chris Rock says women, children, and dogs receive. The fact that this works alone tells you how unappreciated men are in society. We are bent over and taken up the butt constantly. We are typically loved only insofar as what we can produce. Realizing this and taking action on this will help the world in more ways than you'll know right away. So appreciate those around you. Realize that we have problems. Look at the problems. Weigh the problems accordingly. And you may not weigh the problems like I do. But I think I've mentioned problems that should universally be taken up more importantly than others. And figure out, am I weighing, am I weighing the problems we have in life correctly? Am I concentrating on what really matters? Is what I'm doing or what I'm defending really good for mankind, for human society? So those are my points. Those are a combination of things I believe in or the stances I take or my opinions, or a lot of them are just facts. And I can just discuss any one of them. You have any questions or comments, please put them down there. And, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Peace. Logic.